Okay.
Kind of waiting for Corey to get back, he's kind of heading this up. He's our mouthpiece.
He's the man, huh?
Yeah, he's,
You see what I want? You see what it is?
like he said, he drew the short straw.
It's on the end. On the end. The other end. On the floor on the other end. Yeah. Just reach down on the end. Les?
When I do
There.
You didn't last next week?
I didn't know if there was much left in there. I didn't want to be stingy.
Camp coffee.
It's probably not as strong as his.
That's what I was making.
Thanks for coming in.
you're up.
You know everybody, I bet?
I do.
All right. So, the way we've been doing this, we all put together a bunch of questions. I'm gonna be doing most of the question asking, and hopefully everyone else will chime in when they want to. About 45 minutes, and some of these we'll do follow-ups based on where we go. May not get through all the questions, but that's okay. And at any point, if we miss something that you think you want to add, just do it, and we'll go from there. So, the decision makers on who's selected, the commissioners are the decision makers. We don't really have a vote or anything, but we'll probably give recommendations. Not everybody has to, but certainly can. And then there's a Monday night public forum that I guess the public will be asking questions or participating, providing comments or whatever. So hopefully we'll have a commissioner decision. I guess it would be no earlier than next Tuesday is my guess.
I got a surgical procedure that day, so I don't suppose I'll be attending that forum anyway. but-
The Monday? Okay. So first question, have you decided, are you running for the 6-year term as well as applying, or are you applying for just the,
Well,
now
that's
until
come up in
November?
the area.
Say again?
That's up in the area.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet.
Okay, and so is that right, the deadline's Monday?
There's a lot of people getting in this thing, and, you know, it's gonna be a crapshoot for that in the primary, so I don't know if I'm gonna be interested in it or not. but
Okay.
We'll see.
Knowing that this appointment decision is probably not gonna be made before that filing deadline, right? Okay, so okay. So, why don't we start with what excites you about this position? Why do you wanna throw your hat in the ring here as far as being a county commissioner, either now for the short term or for the long term?
Well, I think I'm just interested in just to serve the people of the county, and, you know, I'd like to do some things to improve the community, you know, as a whole.
Okay. And let's talk about the commission itself right now. What do you see that you think that they do a good job at that you'd like to continue or to kind of beef up or enhance?
Well, I think they got a good progressive type of government here. Commissioner Obert, she works hard, that she's dedicated. Anything new comes up, she seems like she's on top of it pretty good. She's well prepared, and I just think she works on pretty well. And so it would be I think they're fairly efficient within the courthouse, and I think they're doing a good job.
What kind of time commitment do you think you'd be able to put in as a county commissioner?
Time commitment?
Time commitment, how much time a week, let's say, do you
Well, not
expect?
as much as Laura, I'll tell you that, but, you know, probably a couple days a week or so.
Okay. Are you able to travel to meetings or MACO trainings, things like that? Okay. What do you see within the county government that you'd like to improve? That you think that is not going as well as it should?
Well, you know, in the first place, I've always thought that, the commissioner job that's a tough one, and, you gotta have all your ducks in a row if you're gonna do this, and, I guess probably, what was the main part of your question?
What do you see that you think that the commission is
Doing well?
not doing
Oh,
well?
not doing well?
You'd like to improve, either the
No.
commission itself or county government as a whole?
Well, what I don't think they're doing well is they're not conducting very good meetings, because I stopped up here, I popped in during a meeting here 6-8 weeks ago, and there's a big riff going on about signing some timesheets or something, and I thought, wow, we must have something more important to do than that, so that kind of got to me a little bit. But I think they're doing a lot of things right. As far as the wrong things, I don't know anything too much about that.
Okay, so that goes into another question that we have, which is right now we have a commission that's on a lot of issues, it's kind of a 1-1. It's
You mean that?
not an agreement, and because there's only 2 commissioners, you have to have 2 votes to get anything done.
Mhm.
So, and there's been complaints about meetings where there's more fighting rather than decisions or anything like that. So how do you come into that environment? How do you help to improve that environment?
I think, well, you're not gonna fix the dislike. If 2 people dislike each other, you're not gonna fix that. But when they walk into the courthouse and they're working for the people, they don't wanna let it become personal. And I feel that they've let it become personal, and they gotta get over that. They gotta learn to make it professional. And as I see it, like Commissioner Obert, she very dedicated, very well prepared. And when you go to a meeting, she's ahead of Commissioner Slifka on a lot of this stuff, and the frustration begins. And so I think that we gotta promote preparedness for these meetings. I think you gotta come to it better prepared.
Okay. Give me an example of some time when you had a disagreement with somebody in either county. If it's with the county, great. If it's not with the county, another example. You had a disagreement with somebody, conflict, how you worked through that, and how you overcame it, I guess.
Well, I haven't had any disagreement with the county here, but, I mean, throughout the years, you have disagreements, but I generally just try to, listen and talk my way through it. There's no sense of, a lot of people, they get into the heated mode and the big argument. Generally, that doesn't do any good. The best thing to do is to listen to all sides and make your decision from there.
Okay. But have you ever had a situation where you had, whether it's a good friend, business partner, whatever, had almost a breaking point and then got it resolved? How did you deal with that?
I don't recall having one of those.
Okay.
I've always kind of worked by myself, other than when I was working construction on a crew. And so most of the time if I was the foreman, if I had a problem, I just sent it on to the supervisor.
Okay. What's your understanding of the budgeting, the budget and financial health right now of the county government? And do you see any places where we need more resources, or places where you think that we can cut based on priority? talk through your perception of where we are now.
Well, us people on the outside who's not working with the budget don't understand the budget process at all. You know, I don't anyway, maybe some people do. But I think as I understand it, the financial health is strong. I think we're doing all right. As far as cuts, I don't see where we have to cut anything. I think that we need to do something. If you guys remember, here a few years ago, a big natural gas blast over in Bozeman, remember that? And it was
Downtown?
everything was in disarray. Even Bozeman was scrambling that time because they were short of these emergency medical service people. And I think we're short there here. Even, are your deputies all certified EMTs?
No.
And they should be, don't you think? That, a lot
Well,
of times they're the first ones at a scene,
We
and they should be
used to be,
certified.
you know, we used to be first responders, and the academy got away from it because the fact is obviously medical is one of those training aspects that we can't keep up with. The curriculum always changes, the requirements always change. And so when you look at, you have to make a decision between legal updates or use of force or search and seizure or intermittent weapons or something of that nature, and then trying to figure out how you're gonna get a recertification on a first responder, which they've pretty much got rid of anyways. The EMT, I was an EMT for a long time, and trying to keep up with my my extracurricular education became very difficult, and then became very cost consuming. And so even the academy and law enforcement is really taking a hands-off approach to let people who deal with it on a daily basis deal with it. We're that we can do CPR, we do first aid, but in a lot of those extra life-saving services, we can't keep up with what's going on to keep people from.
Because of the change in rules? you mean?
Changing rules, it changes all the time, and it just became
But right now,
a liability
the
for.
way I understand it, we got like 7 or 8 certified EMTs, but only 3 or 4 responded.
Yep.
And that's not.
Aren't all the firefighters trained as first
No,
responders?
no.
Some of them are.
And if you, I mean, we got a track that comes right through town here, and we got a big propane tank over there. And, you know, things could happen, and we're not prepared.
Okay.
And I would dump some money into that. That's what I'd like. If I was gonna fund something, I would get into that.
And it's real hard, that EMT stuff it's hard to get people to, they'll take the class, but then when it comes to national cert to get certified, it's very tough, it's very demanding, and a lot of folks just are not able to complete it. So, or they got the commitment level like they used to. Volunteers are very tough to get, fire department, EMTs, even as reserve deputies. We live in a society where people want to.
Coyle volunteer.
He will, yeah. But volunteers are just one of the things from the past, and we've just, that community service morals and values that we had back in the days has really faded away in our present generation. So everything's got a dollar sign attached to it now, so it's a lot tougher.
Okay, tell us about your proudest achievement in your life, or one of your proudest achievements.
Just one of them?
Well, the floor is yours.
Well, I was raised in a rodeo environment. And this is when I was a junior in high school. They used to have what they called a traveling trophy that went around to the school with their team done best at the high school rodeo, and if they done best at say a divisional high school rodeo, they got this traveling trophy for a year until the next year. And when I was a junior, I won more events and more trophies and saddles at a single high school rodeo that's ever been in the history of high school rodeo. They've never ever bettered it yet. I got the traveling trophy by myself. That was one of them. The next one was, and this you understand this, Corey, I was in a infantry AIT unit, and I was the highest scoring final physical training soldier out of 440 soldiers. I got a little trophy at home that they gave me. But the best achievement was I've never inherited a dime from anybody, and I've worked hard all my life, made good decisions, and right now I have a little farm out here on the sound that is completely debt-free, and I'm proud of that.
How do you think those kinds of things, how'd that prepare you or make you a better leader for this commission?
Well, I'm conservative, and if you don't want conservative for a commissioner, you don't want me, because I don't believe in blowing money, wasting money. I like, if I'm gonna buy something, I want it to be quality, but I'm very conservative. And that, in my mind, is what we want in the courthouse. That's my mind.
Who's been a mentor or a shaping influence on your life, someone that you admire, that you personally know?
Well, there's been a lot of them, but I think the person that stands out in my mind the most was my wife's mother, who is a great granddaughter of the old mountain man, Jim Bridger. If she needed a pickup overhaul, she'd go to the library and get a book, and she'd learn how to do it, and she'd go overhaul it. She built her own house, and she was very bright. She could figure stuff out.
It's probably a rare answer that you'd say, that someone would say their mother-in-law is their. That's just, must have been a remarkable woman.
She
What do you, what's your understanding of the requirements for open government and public records accessible to the public and open meeting laws as they apply to county commission business?
Well, my perception is that it's all open to the public unless it's like a closed meeting for legal strategy or personnel or something.
Okay.
That's my understanding of it.
And how do you intend, and I would apply this to this and other aspects of county government, how do you intend to learn the local government requirements, rules, et cetera, that go into
Well, you can Google MCA's and get the laws, or they have a local government handbook, don't they? Don't you guys have something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Or you just go to NACO conferences, you learn a lot.
Okay, so you can go to trainings and travel to those, okay. Did I cover this one? Tell us about a mistake you've made in your life,
boy.
professionally or personally, how you learned from it, and how, I guess, it benefited you.
Well, I had a real costly mistake one time. We put together what was the largest, my brother and I put together what was the largest portable hay pelleting mill that was, we pulled it around the state, and that ended up costing me about $100,000, so I didn't make that one again.
What'd you learn from that, other than not to make it?
I learned that these get-rich-quick schemes sometimes don't work.
Got a few more questions here, but I wanted to see if anybody else wants to jump in at any point. I'm inviting anyone to jump in.
I understand, I was just trying to figure out which question you were gonna ask. So,
I jumped around a little bit.
I noticed that.
I'm sure Corey would get this one, but I'll ask you just to give his mouth a break. What kind of time commitment could you put into being a commissioner? As far as how many
Yeah, he
hours you would spend?
He did ask that, and, you know, I wouldn't wanna go full-time, you know, like every day at the courthouse or anything like that. I got a job to do, but, you know, I could go a couple of days or so. If you got a meeting in another town that's gonna be 2 or 3 days, I can always handle that. But overall, you know, probably a couple of days a week's about the best I could commit, you know.
Russ, what do you think qualities of a good leader or a bad leader are? Well, what are the qualities of a good leader and what are the qualities of a bad leader?
Well, the qualities of a good leader would be somebody that, first of all, is a good listener, listens to his people. He's gotta be, I think he's gotta set an example. If Doug come to work and at 10 o'clock, put his feet up on his desk and talk to his fishing buddy for an hour, it wouldn't be long, everybody would be doing that. So you gotta set an example. I think that you gotta be a good listener and you gotta respect the people you're working with. That's what and as far as the bad leader, it would be somebody like I just mentioned for Doug there, and somebody that doesn't respect and doesn't do his job.
So what do you do if you're paired with somebody like that? They're not pulling their weight. Have you ever been in that situation? How do you handle it?
Well, and we talked about that earlier. I had a deal like that one time. We was building, we put in that big landfill over in Butte, and I was the head of the scraper division on that, and we had one guy that he just didn't want to keep up, and so I didn't have to handle it. I just turned it over to the supervisor, and I guess probably he was sitting down the road. I didn't see him around anymore. But I generally don't get into deals like that.
Well, you're a man of few words, so I'm not sure if we're done with all of them. I think that, I guess.
I'm not a big long answer guy.
Are you able to use computers? There's a lot of stuff that happens, emails, electronic calendars.
Well, I'm not a computer whiz, but I do basic Word, do letters. I got an email. I get emails back and forth, and I can Google stuff, and that's all I do with it. I know I can get by.
Okay.
Now, Les, if, as a commissioner, of course, we serve 6,016 people in this county. If there were a decision that you had to make as a commissioner that was not good for you personally, but would serve the community overall, how would you handle that?
I would do what's best for the majority. That's how I would handle that. Is that a good answer? Okay.
It is. Sometimes those 6,000 are not the ones here putting pressure on the commission to vote a particular way, so that can become actually quite difficult.
Right, you can see that. Well, and I'm one that if it comes to a decision that's, you know, that's a tough one, I'd take my time with it and talk to a lot of people. That's how I'd do that. You know, you can learn a lot from what the people want, just talking to them. So if there was something that came up that was a tough decision between the commissioners, I would say put it on hold and go talk to a lot of the people out there, and you can learn what they want just doing that.
Yeah, and so I have a question about that, because a lot of these meetings, we have the same, 6 people here watching, and, 1 or 2 of them is a county employee. And so my perception is that there isn't as much input and communication with the majority of the people as one would like for it, especially a tough decision. Probably most decisions, they're like, just do your job, we don't care. But the big decisions, how do we get more input?
Well, you just gotta go out and talk to them. You gotta, they'll come to town if you ask them to. You know, they'll come to a town hall meeting, you know, they'll voice their opinion, they just gotta be told, you know. I'm a big one for going out and talking and getting my opinion narrowed down from talking to other people.
Melissa, a follow-up on that. So many of the people in this county, especially when you look at the two, the north and the south, they don't necessarily come to town. They're not available for meetings because they're working, they're raising kids, they're commuting. So how do you, if you're gonna go out and talk to folks, how do you reach out to the people you don't know, who live, you know, essentially in Bozeman or Helena, but happen to have homes here? How do you draw in those people you don't know and don't really have an avenue to know personally?
Well, I guess if, you can't make them come in, but if they don't come in, then they're not real concerned. Because if you put it in the papers and they're not coming in yet, then I guess whatever issue you're talking about, they're not concerned about. But if you got an important issue that's up in the air, you know, and you can't decide which way to go, those people, they're gonna weigh in on it, the ones that care, you know, they always have.
Okay. Did you have something you were
I
gonna say?
did, and just because we're just kind of the same realm as this. You know, I've sat through a lot of commissioner meetings, and I guess the question, do you, in your personal opinion, Miles, do you think some of the decisions that are made are made in haste? I mean, do you think that, and I'm not talking about this particular commission, I mean, in the last almost 16 years, we've had a lot of different commissioners, and it seems to be kind of one of those things that you and I notice, it seems like some of our decisions are made in haste. What's your opinion on that?
I don't have an opinion, I don't know that, I can't think of one that's made in haste, it seems like they're pretty well hashed out, the ones that I remember, but, no, I don't have a comment on that.
Well, we have,
There's a few more.
go for it.
All right.
I mean, I skipped around a lot, so I lost track of them.
There seems to be a lack of employment in Broadwater County for our kids, for young adults, for older folks as well, either educated or uneducated or not as educated. What do you see, what incentives do you think could be offered by the county to help with business development, to help with opportunity development?
You know, I don't know too much about developing new businesses and stuff, I don't know what you do there, no, I just don't.
Okay. Let's see, in the context of a commissioner, realizing that we not only interact with other elected officials, but with department heads that we oversee, with other employees that they oversee, we also work on boards and agencies regionally and across the state. You mentioned NACO. Define respect, what you see as respect in that context.
You mean respected the other entities themselves, or what are you talking about?
I mean, as far as how you would conduct yourself with those different groups, what does it look like? If somebody were watching you with those other groups, what would they see that would make them see the word respect?
I don't know, that's a tough question. You're talking about how would I demand respect from somebody else?
Earn
Earn
respect from
respect?
someone else? Yes.
Or show it to someone else.
Yeah, well, I think you earn respect just by giving respect, and so, that's what I've always thought, but, you just gotta conduct yourself, you know, professionally and it'll come out, you know. I just don't know how you would do it any different. If you're gonna go someplace and expect them to respect you, you gotta give them respect. And so You just gotta conduct yourself in the right manner.
Good answer for a hard question.
That's a hard question.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. The last one is, have you ever had a problem or dispute with the county or any particular county employee? And if so, how would you handle it, and how would it affect the way that you deal with that department if you were to be the commissioner?
I've never had a problem with somebody in the county. I've never had. I was in here, last, 2 or 3 months ago with a little problem, but it wasn't with the county, it was with the IRS system, so I've never ever had a problem with the county. Yet.
That must be your office.
All right. Anybody else? Any follow-up? Anything, sorry, Val?
I'm just gonna ask him if he had any questions for us.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us or more stuff you want to tell us that we haven't asked?
No, like I said, I've been scheduled for this deal for quite a while, so I'm not gonna make it to your forum. I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but, I don't have any questions. I know that, I do know this, I think I know this, that, there's quite a list of these applicants, wanting to be a commissioner, and, given the track record of what we've had, I'm not sure that we're gonna get a commissioner anyway, but so, we'll, time will tell.
Yeah, what would be your recommendation to these two then in terms of
Getting their heads together and getting this done.
get one, even if it's
They
not
got-
the perfect person, or
They
what are
gotta
your
get-
thoughts?
They gotta leave their personal feelings behind and just pick the best one. The best one that they're, and it's a tough deal for 2 people to do. I mean, even if they were good friends, it's a tough thing to agree on one particular person for that, to fill that.
All right,
Franklin, yeah, say the word.
No, I'm just listening. He's a man of very few words.
okay.
All right. Are we done?
Yeah, I think so. So if you can't make it Monday night, but if anybody asks you, I think she has the info for
6:30 or something?
Yeah, we'll give you that even though you are, had previous engagement, but just so that you know. And if you wanted to send someone in your stead, you could certainly do that. That's been
Yeah.
done in the past.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Where somebody has stood up and read an
Read a letter,
introductory
yeah.
speech for someone else.
I'll give that Corey.
I'll be on too. And then, I guess we expect the decision no sooner than next Tuesday, but I'm guessing it could be from then, anytime then on.
Scheduled for 10 on Tuesday.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Les.
Have a good day.
Thanks for coming in. Take care.